hard time with this particular drawing. A lot of self-doubt, and the reason I had a lot of self-doubt is because I had a reading the other day with this specific type of reader, and I really like her because she was very, very accurate when I had a reading from her years and years ago. But when I asked her about mediumship, she said that I can do mediumship, but I'm not getting the message really clear because I need to meditate in a better way, because I do meditate quite a lot, probably, well, I do meditate every day, but I need to do a different methodology of meditation. So the whole entire spirit art reading today, I was like, am I getting this? Am I doing this right? Like, what am I doing wrong? Am I getting the message clearly? Is this subjective? Is this objective? What's going on? But despite all that, this is my drawing, okay? So I'm just gonna go over it the same as any other drawing. Now, this is a sod house. You can see here, this would be like the roof, and so this is the sod on top. These are, I don't know if there was a certain type of sod house where they also did it, like constructed the sod like on the corners, but these are kind of like flying buttresses a little bit, or like this, the wall is built up on the sides, but I think it's only on the corners. But basically this is wood, and then this is stone. So as you can kind of see this, and so I also got a lot of information about being by the sea or like on a cliff. So here's kind of like a cliff area with the ocean hitting the side. And then this are like the raging waves, even though these waves are not going to be exactly next to the house. I was still trying to depict the type of ocean, because the ocean was kind of like slamming really hard into the side of the cliffs here, which is like near the house. But the house is also, it's not on the cliff, it's actually in a forest area. So you can see this really knobby tree, and these knobby trees would be everywhere, just all over the place. Like think of one here and behind and just like covering the area. But then the forest kind of ends near the cliff, and then there's the ocean. That's the area that this was. And I also got the idea that it's a really foggy area with a lot of mists. And this particular dwelling, it's not always visible. I think it's visible to some people, but I feel like it kind of disappears in the mist. And so I was trying to connect with the spirit or whoever's giving me this information, kind of asking, what is the significance of this? So one significance could be that this is kind of like the dark forest analogy. The dark forest is like shadow work. It's about all the things that we don't want to look at about ourselves that we need to still heal, and diving deep, examining wounds that we don't really want to examine or we don't want to heal because it's easier to not look at them. So I definitely thought about that, like what are the things the wounds that I don't want to look at, and am I doing enough shadow work? Because this house is like in this earthy shadow realm. But actually, which I do think is significant, is part of the reading is a reminder of that. But I also did see that eventually somebody does live here, and that's this person, because I kept asking, who is this information being presented by? The creature or person seemed like a hunchback to me, like as though the Hunchback of Notre Dame was based on this character or something, because the people that I was seeing that lived in this house, they did have like a larger bowl back, and they kind of leaned over a lot, and then their arms were hanging quite a bit, like just hanging straight in front of them. Like they were not walking on all fours, but their arms were definitely hanging, and they had really bulgy eyes. So I don't know if they were some sort of human-like creature, or that's just how they were showing me, or if they were a mixture of a human and some type of a bug, because their eyes were so bulgy. That's definitely what I saw. And so this is kind of a version of that. I mean, this looks a little bit more like a person, but you can see that there is a really big hunchback right here. He's kind of like holding stuff. He's holding something like on his back here, because this was a worker type of creature. They worked a lot. They built things. This was their dwelling. It was really a really great state-of-the-art building because it was so sturdy. And so I got the impression that every family built their own house. It was their form of creativity, or how they provided for their family, was they all made their own houses, and they really prided themselves on their ability to build houses. And then these creatures Like I said, I'm not sure exactly what they are, if they're people or if they're part insects or if they're like some sort of weird in-between thing. That's how they prided themselves on being a builder group. They're not always visible like the house. So I tried to really connect to this individual here and say, like, why can't all people see these nature dwelling people or creatures? Like, why can't we see these like nature people? Like, why are they always hidden? Only a select few can see them. Really, he answered saying that is a really good reason why people can't see them, why people can't see us, is what he was saying. People would really be afraid, they'd be really freaked out, and then it would also put them in danger. Now, he didn't answer me in quite like a fear response. It was more like, it's for the greater good of both groups, of this group and the human group, that the humans can't see them very well because it's not really going to fit into the human paradigm. Then it could potentially put these guys at danger, and they just want to be at peace all the time. You know, they just want to do their own thing. They're not trying to bother people. They're not trying to bother us. He said that one big reason people can't see these nature folks is that nature isn't purely physical. What you see in nature is not the end result. Like, I know trees have auras, like other things out in the outdoors, like probably rocks, you know, shrubs, whatever. They all have auras, but we don't always see them, but they're still there. And so because we have these really large energy signatures, they're still there even though we can't see them. And so that was kind of his point, because these people aren't always physical either. So that's why we won't be able to see them, and I'm sure they can kind of like cloak themselves. He said that people can see them if they believe. Now, there's a big question about belief, because people are like, well, I want to see all this stuff. I want to be able to see this, and I want to be able to see that. I want to be able to see angels. I want to be able to see elves. I want to be able to see these guys here. But like, do you really? Like, when you can't see them, do you really want to see them? Because you might not really want to see them. If you believe, it's a much deeper concept than just wanting something. And so the belief has to go to the core of the individual that wants to see them. And he also said that it's not a big deal if you can't see them, because the way that nature works a lot of times is you don't always see it, you feel it. So when I was doing this drawing, I was actually feeling a lot of stuff swirl around me and near the end of the drawing, and that was actually more vivid than what I was seeing. And that's what he was talking about, is that like when you're out in nature and you're just sitting there and you're just being silent and you're just absorbing everything that you see and feel around you, that is the point, is to feel it, to feel what is around you. It's not necessarily to see it. Like, if you feel the happiness, if you feel like there's happiness around you, that's all the confirmation you need. You don't need to see a representation of happiness. You just feel it around your body. You can feel the goosebumps. You can feel the wind. You can feel these things, and that's all you need. You don't need to see the elf standing in front of you. You don't need to see a fairy. But if you feel the happiness and you feel the peace and you feel the calm, that's actually more appropriate, because that's giving you a more holistic view or idea of the energy that you're dealing with. Because if you see something in 3D in front of you, your eyes are gonna argue with your brain, like, what is it that you're seeing? But if you feel the sensation and the emotions circle around you, that's actually a more accurate representation of the energy that you're picking up on. Okay, so I did get a name for this guy. And I don't know if this is his name or if it's just like something easy to say, but he said Hoko. So I just called him Hoko when I was talking to him. I know he doesn't really look that great, because like I said, we're talking about hunchback, we're talking about kind of a long nose, bulgy eyes, arms that kind of dangle, almost like a Neanderthalish type look. And you know, this particular group of creatures can do a lot, and they're really accomplished, like I said, in the building skills and other things. And that's another reason why we can't see nature people or nature dwellers a lot, because they don't look nice. Humans are known for being very beautiful, like having beautiful skin, beautiful hair, beautiful eyes, like having symmetry, like in our faces, like we look the same on each side, whatever. Now, when you're talking about these sort of more elemental spirits or more nature-based spirits, they don't always look nice. Like sometimes they have really long noses. Or this one creature that I was able to channel the other day was all red and spiky. Like he looked really intimidating and grotesque because he was a guardian. So the idea is that he's supposed to be intimidating. He's not supposed to be approachable. You're not supposed to want to say hi because he's there to prevent you from entering the area that he's guarding. Yeah, he looked pretty grotesque, like I was saying. And then some like rock dwelling people, they look gray. You know, that's the color of their flesh, and then they can also a lot of times shift their shape in order to show you what they want you to see about them. And like me and my friend can channel, and then I'll see one version of the creature, and then she'll see another version of the creature, but they're still the same entity. And like they're both red, but I didn't see spikes and she saw spikes. What does that tell you? We just happen to see different things. Is it important to the entity how exactly it appears in our psyches? No. It's not important. They're ugly. That's the point, is that they're not beautiful looking like humans. So that's another reason why it's probably good that we don't see them, because we would not be impressed probably with the way that they look. Hoko also said that nature can heal a broken heart. The human heart goes with the land. So the human heart is able to expand when it gets out into nature. And so he was talking a little bit about that. And that would also be another reason why people don't need to see nature-dwelling creatures like himself, because that would just be a distraction from the healing that nature is trying to give us. Because if we're trying to heal in nature, and then we see a green little man darting across the way, we're just going to be, our brain is just going to go there. We're just going to like, what did I see? What did I see? What did I see? And that kind of is not important, because nature would rather us heal and become one with nature, and for our hearts to expand. That is what she would want. She wouldn't want us to be completely preoccupied with a three-dimensional representation of some little guy. Now, that's my opinion. I think healing is more important than like mysterious sightings. So if you know Hoko, if you've seen this house, if you know where this is, I think it's probably on the coast of Scotland or something. But if this is familiar to you, or you know this story, then this is your drawing. So please leave a comment or contact me. Have a great night, guys. I will be back with another spirit art drawing before you know it. Bye.